Week 17 of the 2025 NFL season is here. With Christmas around the corner, we're hoping that we made the nice list. This is your only place to get your 16-leg, low stakes, high reward, moneyline parlay. This is the Sunday Script. All right, everyone, welcome back. Week 17 of the Sunday Script. Merry Scriptmas, everyone. I know that we wished for a beautiful, big, shiny lock underneath the Christmas tree when we wake up from Santa. Hopefully we made the nice list. And if we made the naughty list, my mom talked to Santa. She said, if I made the naughty list, I get a Kyler Murray jersey, which would suck a lot. So hopefully Santa, provides a lock for all of us this week. And speaking of, locks, last week we didn't lock and we went 11 for 16. A lot of things we learned going into this, final week before week 18, which is just, week 18 is going to be a rinse. I mean, it's going to be, bums and scrubs and backups and maybe some teams playing for some positioning. That's why they put the TBD on the schedule for all those games, right? But we'll see. But, we'll get into week 17 right now with the good old-fashioned Thursday. Well, actually, my bad. It's Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
It's Christmas, so we have 3 games on Christmas this week. We'll get into it with the first one, actually, and hopefully we don't rinse on the Christmas night game like we did on Thanksgiving, so we'll see. But we got the Cowboys going into FedEx, the shithole, FedEx Arena. Both these teams are coming off a loss, and they're both really playing for nothing, and, everyone, including us, was kind of piss hot on the Cowboys going into the end of the year here, only for them to start massively rinsing down the stretch. And it's clear their secondary is just so atrocious and can't stop anyone. I mean, they made Quentin Johnson look like a Hall of Famer last week for the Chargers, right? They made 9 look fantastic too. And another good game for Georgie Porgy, who will be on another team next year. And, he's not punching players like DK is, but we'll get to DK here soon, because that was the worry with Georgie Porgy. Is he a locker room issue? Is he a locker room cancer and all that? But Dak was kind of slinging it for the Cowboys still, which he will still do. And we're not down on Dak, just that team in general. But if you're a Commanders fan, player, coach, whatever, you probably just want the season to be over. Nothing to really even look forward to, other than Jane Daniels returning next year, right? And maybe your draft pick this year. But Mariota's going to not play this week either, and he left the game early last week, which means that Josh Johnson's going to be on the field, which is a rinse for them. Sure. I mean, we watched that Eagles game, and it was a snooze fest for sure. Yeah. Watching Josh Johnson run around out there, but with no quarterback, defense, or will to live, we're probably just going to take the Cowboys, and we'll take the Cowboys this week.
Yeah, given the Cowboys -7, makes sense to me actually. For once, a bigger spread makes sense to me. The worst secondary in the league, damn near, in Washington, even with big bad, Dan Quinn taking over the defensive play calls, like that was gonna fucking do anything. I know. And Dak is having a good season. He's still able to put up numbers against bad teams, so he'll probably toss it a little bit to Georgie. But like Tim was saying, Tim said this actually earlier in the year, that George Pickens has been known for being inconsistent, as well as his off the field issues and on the field issues, to be quite frank. But
that was fair.
Yeah. And here he is once again. The season gets going. He's having a great season. People think he turned a new leaf, and now he's back to just sobbing and not really taking plays off, doing his own thing. But he's still good enough where, like I said, he's gonna get that $20-30 million contract. Yeah, someone's gonna fall for it. Yeah, but Mike Tomlin didn't want to hang around him, so
he'd be a great Dolphin.
So yeah, he'll go down to Miami or something like that. Mariota is questionable with the hand injury. I think we just get Josh Johnson again, who sucks, man.
I think Josh Johnson's been on like 16 teams or something.
Yeah, I don't want to watch Josh Johnson. Give me Dak and the Cowboys getting it done on the road. Now we got a divisional game, another Christmas Day game. Excuse me. And the Vikings are hoping to open a can of whoop ass on the Lions, fuck over their division rival playoff aspirations. Yeah. As I always say, can 9 make it happen again? Well, I was talking about 9's, dire situation that he's in, and now it's looking like he might not even play.
Yeah.
So, he the way you got to look at this is he's not good enough to miss games. He's at the point now, I told you, he's got to string together some good games, and now you're not even going to play one of them. One of your last 2 games at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And you're not good enough to guarantee you got a job next year, dude. Can't be sitting out games. Tough it out.
Yeah.
Lions are kind of like fool's gold. Yeah, absolutely hosed in the ref ball. It's kind of funny. I mean, that ref just trolled so hard. He goes, the ruling on the field is a touchdown, except it's not, and all you Detroit fans can get fucked and go home. That was a direct soundbite from the game.
I had family members there who were like, we didn't know what was going on, and then the ref just goes, the ruling on the field is a touchdown. However, it's not.
Yeah, he had to have been trolling. That was obscene. But Rodgers, likes beating up NFC North teams, so beat the Lions at home. And the Lions are also in a very, very dire situation as well. They need to win out and hope for some magic on some losses from some other teams. But maybe this is the Brosmer masterclass I've been waiting for. I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not after what we saw last time. Beeflo defense still good, but at least you had a starting quarterback and not Max Brosmer the last time they played. Lions are really good off the loss as well. Give me the Lions on the road.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers goes into Ford Field and gets another win as a NFL football player. Of course, wearing different colors this time around. And this is the first time the Lions have lost 2 games in a row in some time. I think it's like in 15 games or something like that. And clearly they miss Ben. I mean, it's so obvious at this point that they miss Ben Johnson. Not Aaron Glenn, because he's a rinse. They don't miss him. He sucks. But, with such an injured defense once again this season, right, the finger might have to be pointed at Dan Gamble. How are they running practices? Are too many kneecaps being bitten off? Right? I know it's the NFL still, but, I mean, it's the same thing with them every year. Injuries. And
Wait. Weren't you the they need to practice more guy because they're all soft now?
Sometimes it's quality over quantity. And sometimes the quality is maybe too high for Dan Gamble.
Okay.
And,
all right,
and he's just running those guys into the ground. They're getting hurt.
Okay.
Vikings get a win against, the actual worst team in football if you look at the draft order, right? And they barely squeak away a win in Metdeath. And JJ left the game early, like Carm said, so we might get another Max Brosmer game, which, JJ was starting to look like he might have got fixed by Cock.
Yeah.
I doubt it still.
Maybe it was like Commanders game.
It was the Commanders and then the Cowboys and everyone had their fun with the Cowboys in the NFC North except the Lions. And then the Packers.
And the Packers.
Well, yeah. Well, they got that ugly thing hanging off their record, but Detroit isn't technically out. They need to win out and they need Green Bay to lose, and we'll talk about the Packers here later, but the Vikings don't have enough with Brosmer to win this game, I think, and the Lions have enough motivation to keep it going. So we'll take the Lions to split. But Nick, do you think that players getting hurt all the time, like, is that a skill issue or is that just bad luck?
Well, I think you should take it on a case-by-case basis. But what I'm seeing right now is for a lot of like very quietly good players just doing their job, it is bad luck. But what I'm really seeing when it comes down to the way that players are playing and the acting, that I'm seeing a lot of players get a lot of money and then get some weird injury you've never heard of or just sit on the sideline. It feels like these days, as soon as you get a contract, you get hurt and then you get off the field and go enjoy your life during the season. To that, I would probably say that a lot of the players getting hurt is a big skill issue, followed by some bad luck on a case-by-case basis. But I'm going to say that the number one thing hurting these players is greed right now.
I would agree, Nick. I said on the Bears subreddit that Kyler Gordon, has played 3 games this year and got paid as the highest nickel corner in football, and then everyone downvoted me. But I was just preaching what Nick preaches, that some people just get their money and they seem to stop caring. They seem to not push through. They seem to rest maybe a little more than they should. But I think it's a skill issue as well, like Nick said. So that's some great insight from Nick as always.
Definitely, case by case.
Yeah, but we'll get into another divisional game here. Broncos versus Chiefs. Broncos are minus 13 and a half against the Chiefs. If I would have told you that would have been the spread at the beginning of the year, you would have been like, what the hell happened to the Chiefs? Well, I'll tell you what happened to the Chiefs, right? They lose Mahomes on an ACL rinse, and then Minshew rinses his ACL, right?
Back to back.
So we're going to get Chris Oladokun I don't even know who the hell Chris Duncan is, but he's on the Chiefs roster, and he's going to start this game for them.
Yeah. They pulled him out of Ola Duncan.
Exactly. And the Broncos are coming off a massive fraud check to Duval, Liam Cohen, and Trevor. I think it might be. We'll talk about the Jags later. Actually, I'll skip that take for now. But now the Broncos get to play the worst team in their division, which are the Chiefs, because the Raiders. The Raiders beat the Titans, so Chiefs didn't. So NFL math for you right there, right? One issue since the bye is that the Broncos defense has been a little leaky and a little inconsistent. And is Bo really that guy? I still don't think so. I think, Bo had a great game against the Packers. Packers could have picked him off a bunch of times, and he wasn't really staying in the pocket. He was kind of running around and doing what he could. We have to see more from Bo. I'm sorry. This playoff stretch will really be able to show what Bo is capable of. But like I said, Gardner Minshew out with a knee injury after the curse of the ACL tear follows him, even though he might not have torn his ACL, but still another knee injury for him. And this is a clear pick for us. We should have taken the Titans last week, but we're going to take the Broncos this week.
Yeah, Broncos get their asses kicked by Jacksonville. Looks like maybe T-Law got a good connection with Liam Cohen over there. We'll talk about it. That game kind of showed me that the Broncos is kind of just pass rush heavy on defense. They're not really they're still a very good defense, I think, but they're not like the super complete, fully sound on all aspects of defense. That kind of got exposed against Jacksonville a little bit. Like Tim was saying, you're on your third string quarterback down in Kansas City off the practice squad. He was all right, 11-16, 111 yards against the Titans, but like, I mean, it's a third string quarterback against that pass rush, dude. Like, this guy hasn't seen barely any NFL minutes, and that's still a scary pass rush in the Broncos. I think too with the Broncos is they played really hard against Green Bay. That was like their biggest game of the year, and then it was a classic. The team has their biggest game of the year, and then they're kind of gassed after the next week, and they come into it. They're a little bit slumpy. I'm not really down on Denver at all. I think they played what is turned out to be a very good Jacksonville team. Streaky, but good. They got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Yeah. I said before, all the draft picks of being poverty for so long. You'll get some good. You'll get some good players. Broncos minus 13.5. It's a lot of points. I'm not really so super sold on Bo Nix. Yeah, Bo Nix had an amazing game against the Packers. I'll concede that, but you can't just grade all these quarterbacks on the best games of their careers. That's my take. That was Bo Nix's best game of his entire career. And you can't judge him off his highs. I got to judge him off of what I've seen this season. He throws a lot of interceptions. He tried to a lot against the Packers, and he did it against the Jacksonville as well. So, can't really trust him, but I'll trust him against Chris Oladokun. Give me the Broncos and their pass rush. They'll probably get like 6 sacks this game. Gonna move us into LA. We got the Texans taking on the Chargers. And Justin Sherbert finally gets a week where he doesn't have to take a sack. He's been getting pressured, harassed all season by every team. But unfortunately for him, that was against the bad Texas defense, and this is the good Texas defense.
Yes.
So he's probably going to take a lot of sacks. They're still down their tackles. The Chargers are getting minus 2.5. I think it's because the Texans played the Raiders a little closer than they would like. But, it's the NFL. People get a little complacent. Maybe they're more worried about the Chargers. They take the Raiders a little light. Ashton Genty has a breakout game, and it is what it is. They still squeak out the win. I think it's going to cause a lot of problems for Durbert. I think they're going to get to him. They're going to harass him. He'll be able to make some plays, but it'll be a close game. Give me the Texans, though. I like their defense. I'm still rocking with them.
Yeah, the Texans and Chargers are both one game back in their divisions, and while each team has all but clinched a playoff spot, this game has, must-win stamped on both sides of the ball, on both sides of the field, I guess, for each team, right? And the Texans entered this game on an absolute heater, winning 7 straight, which, going back to the beginning of the year, they were 0-3, and we were saying, Texans might be ass.
Yeah.
And we've really changed our tune on that, so kudos to them. And this is 2 of the NFL's toughest defense, and they're going to take center stage in SoFi. And Houston's best in the NFL defense, right? 16.6 points per game and 272 yards per game.
Yeah. And like 70s passer rating.
Yeah, dude. And that should be able to keep Justin Sherbert in check, honestly. This is the week where I think the O-line woes catch up to Sherbert and Harbaugh. and Will Anderson and company get to Herbert a couple times, maybe 3 times this week, and that won't bode well for them. So we'll take the Texans as the underdogs to go in the SoFi this week, but that'll move us into Ravens versus Packers. Packers are -2.5, and this game is exclusively on Cock, so make sure you get your subscription to Peacock for this game, because you won't be able to watch it any other way, which is great. Thanks, NFL. Fucking stupid.
No.
We have our ways, but... Yeah. Packers are coming off what I would describe as a complete meltdown against the Bears. Onside kick, Rins. The face mask, Rins. The face mask was really not talked about enough. That was a complete...
That was such a
I don't know who committed that penalty. I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember who it was.
But, Jadae's Walker's wide open. Keyshawn Nixon let DJ Moore score, right? And Keyshawn Nixon was talking all that good the week before when he intercepted the ball. And then he runs around, and then he runs from the locker room and doesn't take questions from reporters last week. So really shows what kind of character you are, Keyshawn Nixon, but that's fine.
Yeah, no kidding.
Jordan Love suffered a concussion, which did not help at all, of course. Malik Willis played really well, and people are starting to talk like Malik Willis is a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. I still don't believe that. But now people are saying, well, if he gets a couple games on tape here, then he might go somewhere else next year.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see, right? But he played really well until he made a backup mistake and fumbled the football in overtime, right? So I kind of figured that was going to come at some point in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like I said to you, I was like, there it was. That was kind of the inevitable backup rinse that you were going to get. With both quarterbacks injured, we're not sure what the quarterback position is going to look like in Green Bay this week. It'll probably just be Malik Willis on some Percocets or whatever they give them at this point with some shots. And on the other hand, the Ravens also rinsed themselves, giving up a lead to New England. And like we said, Lamar didn't even play, but it's a good old-fashioned Lamar rinse, man. I mean, he gets kneed in the back. He's sobbing in the locker room. This is bullshit that I got hurt. Well, play the game, Lamar. God, I can't, he's just such a baby, and he's not taking any accountability for the fact that his team's going to miss the playoffs after they were Super Bowl favorites this year. John Harbaugh's got to go. That roster is old, depleted, dilapidated, slow, and Lamar is getting up there too now. So what are the Ravens going to do? I have no idea, but the days of Lamar dominating this league are over, and I'm so happy about it because I've been saying for years Lamar is never going to win a Super Bowl, and that'll come true for sure. So I always love being right, but if Lamar plays QB for the Packers, that leaves this game up in the air a little bit. If we get a Tyler Huntley and Malik Willis game, it's kind of a coin flip at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a rinse.
It's a kind of a rinse regardless, but we'll take the Ravens this week.
Yeah. We were maybe leaning toward the Packers if they were going to play Tyler Huntley. But it does look like Lamar
will probably play. Yeah.
And then you pair that with the fact that not only are the Packers now without Jordan Love, which is a mega rinse, but Malik Willis landed pretty hard on his shoulder, his throwing shoulder at the end of that Bears game, and is going to be playing hurt because they're not going to have Jaden Reed taking snaps unless it really comes down to it. Packers
Jay Daniels out there.
Yeah, Packers have had a serious injury bug. Josh Jacobs is still super limited, and they're not going to be able to get their run game going. And
they need to
their
sit
defense.
Him. They need to sit Josh Jacobs.
They should just sit Josh Jacobs, I think, versus just running the hell out of him into what is now. I mean, you don't have your starting quarterback anymore. What's the point of
Well, he was pushing it last week, and then he fumbled at the goal line, and then he didn't come back in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he needs to get his knee right and come back next year. I said that last week about the Packers. Get it together. Come back next year. Get healthy. Give me the Ravens and move us into 2 Florida teams. The Buccaneers on one side of the coast and the Dolphins all the way down at the tip.
There's some good geography from you there, Carm. Thanks.
Well, I don't know. People forget. I heard someone say that Tampa Bay was on the East Coast.
It's not.
I know. I was like, it's in the...
And then you corrected them.
Well, no, because I was listening to it.
Oh, okay.
On the radio.
You should comment and correct them.
Anyway, this isn't geography class. Todd Bowles' defense absolutely crumbling. Another divisional rinse, as we've seen.
Yeah.
And they're now 6 out of their last 7 losses after the bye week. Their one win being a 3-point win over the Arizona Cardinals in the red zone. So They're a rinse team. I think they got hit with the injury bug as well. Their defense has crumbled. I was high on their defense early on in the season too. They're terrible. But on the other side of the ball, we got another dumpster fire. The Nick's favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. I was thinking that maybe like because the Bucks are so bad on defense now that McDaniels could craft something up and pick them apart. It could happen, but like maybe with Tua, right? But sometimes you can get a good game. But I was just telling you guys how much he sucks, and now he's benched, and Quinn Ewers is playing. So they're actually playing their third string quarterback, and Zach Wilson's sobbing about it too because he wanted to play.
I know,
because he was second string, and then he's like, "Oh, well, you're playing this guy." It's like, well, guess what, Zach? They're tanking. Can't go and win them any games now. All right.
Yeah.
Not that he would. He sucks too. All three of their quarterbacks suck, man. Give me the Bucks, man. They got no quarterback in Miami. I don't like it.
Yeah, the Dolphins come off another loss after starting Quinn Ewers, who's clearly not the answer they need at quarterback. And what are they going to do? Carr mentioned last week bring in Danny Dimes, and maybe that's what they do, which would be a rinse. But with the shorthanded pass rush, Miami really doesn't have the strength needed to get into the backfield at all, in my opinion. And that should leave Baker some time to dice them up. And this is a must-win for Tampa, after getting pounded in Carolina, as Carolina kept pounding.
Keep pounding.
Yeah, with that stupid big drum they have. But after getting a win, this week they would be all even with the Panthers again. Well, we'll see. Actually, we'll talk about the Panthers in a little bit here, but and a chance for them to beat them and then win the division, right? So we're gonna take the Bucks. I mean, the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins should have just kept starting Tua. I know that might not be the most popular opinion on this show right here, but I mean, what else? Like we said, you can do start Zach Wilson. He's too busy. He's too busy banging moms, and then Quinn Ewers sucks.
Yeah.
So,
go
ahead, Nick. Yeah,
I can't hear all this slander about the Dolphins.
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's fine. Go ahead.
When it comes to the Dolphins, I think it was important to take Tua out so the head coach, what's his name again?
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels can blame it on someone else because it's all his fault why the Dolphins aren't producing what they should be.
I agree.
He's not covering the office staff. I mean, the offense, like I was saying the other week, offense sucks, defense sucks. And sometimes you got to ask, is this a systemic problem that goes all the way up? And the only way for him to save his ass is to blame it on Tua, put in some other scrubs, and hope he gets another year. Honestly, Dolph's elite. Everybody knows it. Everyone can see it, but it's a management issue.
Yeah.
It's not a production issue.
Yeah, you got Tua turn the ball over, and Stephen Ross just cares more about F1 than he does the actual Miami Dolphins team, right? The owner. So good luck with that, Nick.
I said McDaniels was going to get fired week 2.
He needs to put the pipe down. He needs to stop vaping on the field. Yeah. All right, that's going to move us into some other AFC East teams. We got the Patriots going into MetLife. Is this a Drake May ACL tear game?
I hope not, dude.
That'd be a rinse. But when you go to MetLife, there's a reason we call it that here on the script. I mean, you go in there and you just rinse your ligaments. I mean, it's just no non-contact. The turf is awful. They fixed it a little bit, but it's still not great. But for the Jets, it's officially Carlos Mendoza's season, which sucks for him because they'll just ruin him too. So, I mean, draft whoever the fuck you want, Jets. You're still going to suck. And if I was a Jets fan, there's not one thing I could point to that would possibly make me excited about this year. Like, what am I going to do? Point to Justin Fields? No. What am I going to do? Point to Garrett Wilson? No. The only thing I can point to is that my brilliant GM actually got 2 picks from that idiot Chris Ballard for a Matt Gardner. It's the only thing I can point to, really, honestly. And Quentin Williams. And they got a first for Quentin Williams, I think. So they got a bunch of picks lined up, but they'll rinse them.
They will.
The Pats come off beating another, they beat a backup QB in the Ravens on Tyler Huntley, who, Pro Bowler, I get it, he was a Pro Bowler. But the cakewalk seemingly continues with the Jets and then Miami to finish up the year for the Patriots. And Vrabel almost rinses with a fake punt call in that game, but, Drake May, whatever the fuck that is, comes up and redeems him, which might be the dumbest nickname in the NFL by a mile, I think. Yeah, but we'll take the Patriots. I mean, what are we going to do? Take the Jets?
No, it's certainly not taking the Jets. They're so poverty.
I know.
They did the highlight of their season is nothing that happened on the field. It is, like Tim said, absolutely fleecing the Colts.
Yeah.
For sauce.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, Garrett Wilson's allegedly good. He doesn't even have 400 yards. Last time that's happened to an NFL team, it was like 80 years ago that they didn't have a 400-yard receiver.
Yeah, I could have
395
maybe
yards.
If the Jets would have called the Sunday script, I would have told him that Justin Fields fucking sucks.
Yeah, no, he's got 395 yards and he's not going to play the rest of the season. Yeah, so good luck with that, Jets. Your poverty. Give me the Patriots. I don't even care how or what the Patriots did last week. The Jets are so bad. Like,
I know.
That's it.
I know.
Nick, do you think the Patriots are going to make any noise in the playoffs, or do you think they're going to get fraud checked for their clubhouse Mickey Mouse schedule?
Well, I definitely think the cakewalk has a lot to do with the perceived performance of the Patriots. Although I think it's important to understand that, you know, they got into a good motion with those wins, you know, win after win after win. They saw what worked, they saw what didn't, and, you know, they saw what they got away with and what they probably can't get away with. So I think despite the Patriots not being like the superb or excellent team going into the playoffs, I think they have a good shot at making some noise and doing the job right, because they're just kind of got used to it through the regular season.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll win a game in the playoffs.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be at the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
It will, it will be in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. All right, let's go into another divisional game. Steelers -3.5 visiting the Browns, and the Browns are still poverty. There's nothing really new to be said about them. Shadur is going to finish out the rest of the season, and they're going to be on the hunt for their 57th quarterback. I've lost count.
58th
in the last
58 and a half.
Yeah,
Considering Johnny Manziel was half a quarterback.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good old Johnny Manziel. They should have brought him back.
I know.
Playing better than Shador. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers sneaks one out versus Detroit. Crazy game.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, crazy game. We were talking about, you know, they ref balled the Lions. Man, that was funny. That was really, really funny.
It was funny.
I'm talking about it again because that was hilarious. But Aaron sneaks one out. They're kind of cooking a little bit finally on offense. I think the Detroit defense is kind of whatever. But I like the Steelers in this game. You know, except the one problem is DK Metcalf is now going to be suspended for 2 games. For, you know, punching that fan apparently, because it's something we do all the time. We love calling players by their government names on this show.
Right. Well,
especially when they have stupid fucking names like Sauce and your name's Ahmed. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, his name's Timothy, but he goes by Tim. Okay. Right? Makes sense. But Sauce and Ahmed? No S in Ahmed. Yeah. Anyway, apparently someone called him Decalen, which is his government name, and he got mad about it and punched him in the face. I don't know if that's true. But
someone's watching our shorts.
That's the report. Give me the Steelers in Believeland.
Yeah, Steelers coming off beating the Lions, like Carm said, and, you know, Aaron Rodgers giving the Bears a playoff spot. So thanks, Aaron. I never thought I'd be saying that, but that's where we're at right now in this season. And, you know, this is a bigger game. This game will be dictated a lot by what the Ravens do on Saturday night on the cock, because if the Ravens lose and the Steelers win, they clinch the division. So, or I think if the Ravens also just lose, then they clinch the division also. So the hope is that our script is right. Well, first off,
of course,
the script is right, and then that the Steelers have something to play for in that shit bowl in Cleveland. Not really much we can say about the Browns. If you notice, we're at the point in the show where we're just going to tell you teams suck and we're not going to bet on them anymore. Right? But I mean, I don't think I've ever seen such an amount of glaze for a quarterback that loses and throws multiple picks a game and continuously rinses, but yet people just still think he's good. Like, this stupid shit, like this shitter glaze is absolutely ridiculous. You have actual good quarterbacks in this league that people doubt. Okay, Bo's okay, all right? Fine.
Yeah.
But you got people that hate on Bo, hate on Caleb, hate on Trevor more than they do Shadur. And it makes no sense at all to me. All Shadur has been doing is losing and throwing interceptions. It is absolutely ridiculous. It needs to stop. Shadur has won 1 game against the fucking Raiders. Okay? And he might not even be the quarterback next year. They might just start Deshaun next year. We'll see. But we'll take
He's definitely not going to be the quarterback next year.
We'll see. He might be.
I'd be very surprised.
Well, Stefanski won't even be there, so there's no Ferrari to drive.
Yeah.
So. We're going to take the Steelers, though, and even with DK not on the field, I don't think DK's having that great of a year, but, he clearly was being an emotional an emotional mess and punching a grown man for calling him his real name, which is ridiculous. So
That's just what the report said. I don't know.
I saw the video of it.
Yeah.
Some dude posted it on Reddit.
Yeah.
He's like, DeKalen, and then he punches him in the face. Speaking of that, Nick, if DK Metcalf punched you in the face, you're not throwing fists back, right? That's a settlement all the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. Take the money.
Yeah.
I mean, if DK Metcalf took a swing at me and hit me, my eyes would turn green. I'd plan the boat I'm gonna buy. I'd figure out the trips I'm gonna go on, the house I'm gonna buy. Because there's multiple people at fault here. I mean, not only is it what's his official name?
DeKalen.
Yeah.
Not only is it DeKalen's fault, but it's also the team's fault. Where was my protection as a fan? I paid my tickets. Following that, I mean, the reputational damage of getting punched by an NFL player. I mean, I'd just try to cash it all in, and the money is there.
Right.
He gets contract after contract after contract, big money. I mean, I'm sure he's in commercials. Give me some of that commercial money.
He is in commercials.
Give me that commercial money. That's what I'm
garnish him.
saying.
I agree, and maybe you get hit in the face and walk away with some lingering lower back pain.
Yeah.
or you
Yeah,
get
but
some
it's
food
paid
poisoning.
for.
In the state of-
It's all paid for.
Nick, if you saw the video, the guy, he gets punched and he immediately just 2 hands up in the air like, oh yeah, I just hit the lottery,
I just made
man.
a bunch of money.
Yeah. So he was happy about it. DK wasn't. So
Yeah, well, that's DK's fucking
Too bad.
fault. Yeah, too
Cry
bad.
about
So
it.
sad. All right, but that'll move us into an AFC South game, Jags versus Colts, which maybe, a month ago we would have looked at the schedule and been like, that's going to be a big game. But, I mean, the Colts are starting a 44-year-old, who played okay on Monday night.
Yeah,
but,
he's all right.
The Jags are coming off beating the number 1 seed in the AFC, and NFL math makes them the best team in the AFC, actually, which is crazy to say. And looking like Liam Cohen coached the rinse out of Trevor. That was really the only thing holding this team back, in my opinion. And we didn't mention this so far, but, the Bucs missed Liam Cohen, right?
Yeah.
The Bucs clearly missed Liam Cohen. The Eagles clearly missed a baby food eater.
Yep.
Who, I'll talk about the baby food eater later, and the Bears missed Ben Johnson, right? So 3 coordinators leaving their teams, and then they are struggling, and those other teams that they went to are finding success, and which is why it's so important to have those guys as your head coach and not a coordinator, right? We're seeing that, might see that with the Packers and Halfley, but I don't think he'll be a good head coach. But that's for next
The
season.
defensive guys usually aren't.
They're not.
Besides
They're
like D'Amico.
Yeah, besides D'Amico. But the Colts are starting a 44-year-old, like I said, after getting pooped on by the Niners and Jim Irsay's home. And at this point, Chris Ballard's got to be gone. Here's some fun facts for you. Since 2017, Andrew Luck retiring, rinsed the shit out of them. There's nothing they can really do to plan about that. I mean, your star quarterback just quits the third preseason, the third week of preseason, right? And then you're screwed, right?
Yeah, he
Right?
literally said, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah, what are you going to do, That's not Chris Ballard's fault, but the response is, they've had starts from Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, Gardner, Richard Sell, who they drafted number 4 overall, Joe Flacco, Danny Dimes, and then Phillip Rivers again. So just an absolute mess since 2017 at quarterback, and that's all Chris Ballard's fault. He's got to be gone. I think Shane Steichen should be gone too. And if you can't tell, we're going to take the Jags and Duval to go into Indy and get a win.
Yeah, this could certainly be a case of what the Broncos face this week, coming off a really big game and then rinsing again. I don't see it happening for the Jaguars. I was watching Phillip Rivers last night. He's definitely doing what he can, and you could say he's definitely the 45-year-old. Oh, I still got it, and he is playing at a starting
He's
NFL
playing at
quarterback
better than some
level.
quarterbacks in the league right now.
He's certainly playing better than some quarterbacks in the league right now. But the thing that just sticks out like a sore thumb is the game speed has gotten away from him. He wasn't fast. You've heard it a million times. He wasn't fast early on, but now he's very clearly a step behind. And even the 49ers, who don't have a great pass rush, were feasting on him a little bit.
Yeah.
Just standing up in the pocket. Colts are done. Colts are done before Daniel Jones went out because he was a complete fraud. Now they have 44-year-old Phillip Rivers still making some plays, but it's not going to be enough for the Jags. Jags avoid the Trevor Lawrence rinse, which we say JJ's going to get fixed by Cock. Trevor Lawrence has maybe been fixed by Liam Cohen, finally.
Yeah.
Because he's been putting up some very, very good games. I've been very impressed with him. After I spent, the whole segment shitting on him.
Yeah.
Give me the Jags in this game and take me, maybe just put me on suicide watch for the next game because I got to watch this one. Saints are taking on the Titans.
I don't feel the same way, but I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
And I mean, here's the thing with this game. These teams both suck. Titans come off a moral victory of beating a third-string, no-name quarterback in a deflated Kansas City. And the Saints, beat up a divisional opponent, they didn't beat up a divisional opponent. They beat up a poverty franchise in the Jets. And I don't care, I don't care about this game at all. They're eliminated from the playoffs. They're playing for draft seeding. They're going to have a bunch of scrubs out there seeing what they got in the cabinet for next season. I don't care. I really don't want to watch it. I think Tyler Shuck's playing a little bit better than Cam Ward. Baby Food Eater is a good head coach, as I've been saying. I'm excited to watch the Saints next season, but give me the Saints now. They'll beat the Titans. Titans are still bad.
Yeah, I'll take a whole different direction on this game. If you like quarterback play and you're interested in the quarterbacks, coming up here and going into next year, then this is an intriguing game for you. Cam Ward has shown a little bit of promise this year, and Tyler Shuck has definitely shown promise. Tyler Shuck, White Caleb Williams, and Cam Ward, the number one pick in the NFL draft. If you're a Titans fan, you can probably rest easy knowing that you maybe have a guy, but now you got to pair him up with someone, right?
Yeah.
Now you got to pair him up. Both quarterbacks drafted in the first round last year, Fart and Ward. Now you got to pair him up with an offensive mind, which there might not even be that many to go around this year. But the Saints, I think the Saints have definitely found their quarterback for next year. And he might be paired up with a great mind and play caller who does have the most wins in college football history, actually, going 50-3 in college football, Kellen Moore did.
Kellen Moore. Is absolutely elite.
So I think this is an interesting game. If you're a Saints fan, you can watch for Shuck, and you're a Titans fan, you can watch for Cam Ward. So it gives you a reason to watch. Let's put it that way. Maybe if you're a fan of those teams, but just a casual fan, you're probably not putting this game on. But yeah, we'll take the Saints this week for sure. But that'll move us into Seahawks are -4.5 to go into Carolina, and Carolina is officially the number one team in the NFC South after beating the Bucs. Is it time to say that Bryce Young is officially not a bust? I think we can put that label on him for sure. Is he going to be elite? We'll just have to find out, right? The Seahawks are coming off a thriller on the Thursday night rinse last week, but needed a bunch of ref ball to get there. Awful call by the officials.
Shit,
we were talking about it earlier. Later in the end of last week, if the whistle's dead, but they're going to look back and give them the 2-point conversion for picking up the ball, even though the whistle's been blown.
So stupid.
I mean, what are we doing here? We're convinced that we put in our ticket, and DraftKings calls up the refs and says, "Hey, just rinse one of these games for us," because that's just absolutely ridiculous, right? But we can get into the refs all we want. Everyone's complaining about them. But last time an NFC team went all the way east to Carolina. An NFC West team went all the way to Carolina. The Rams rinsed.
Yep.
Right? The Rams absolutely rinsed. And we predict the same for this game. Travel sucks. We'll take the Panthers this week. We'll keep pounding.
Yeah, we're going to keep pounding with the Panthers. The Panthers are a lot better than... They still kind of got that poverty, aura hanging over them, but they're a lot better than people are thinking. When Bryce Young plays well, they're definitely reliant on him playing well. They can be very one-dimensional when he's not playing well or when he's injured, but he's dynamic. He opens up their offense a little bit, and his accuracy has, improved by leagues this season, I would say.
Yeah.
You guys know we always talk about the cross-country flight, and this is another game for Seattle where they're going across country. I always say Seattle plays better on the road than at home. But I mean, they just got really ref-balled to a victory that they should not, I don't think, have had beside a little bit of ref ball. I think the Rams kind of choked a little bit, let them stay in that game more than they needed to. It was looking like it was going to get ugly on the Rams' behalf earlier in the game. Seahawks kept it together. Mm-hmm. And then, that 2-point conversion, it wasn't even at the end of the game. It really just added 2 extra points, and they win by 1 point. It's like, oh, well,
yeah, well, there you go.
There you go, right? So I hated that call. I like the Panthers in this game. I think they come off, it's like I was saying, it's been the theme of the show, right? You come off this big game, biggest game of the season, you're going to be a little bit beat up, you're going to be a little bit tired. They did get the extra time off with Thursday night, but I don't think it's going to help them. I like Bryce Young in this game at home. It's going to take us into, I almost forgot. Nick, as someone who frequently flies first class, how do you prepare for a long flight and make sure it doesn't affect your performance? Any tips for the players of these two teams? Or the Seahawks, I should say.
Yeah, I think the best thing that you could do is, relax and take your mind off. Just focus on what you're going to do next. It's not as much like the whole traveling aspect of it. I know things that tend to help me is I tend to go to the airport. I tend to have good food with me. Last time I was in first class, I was with some big pizza. They looked at me funny through TSA, but they didn't ask for a slice, thank God. And then, when you get on the plane, it's important to maximize your time. So I know for me, I curled up, I started reading some book, and that kind of helped me got through. And I was just able to take my mind off of, my fear of my fear of heights, and that was able to get me to where I need to go, ready to go, and straight into the action.
All right. Thanks for the tips, Nick.
That is true. Maybe they should also drink some double bullets and bring their iPad.
Yeah. I think an iPad and a couple whiskeys would calm me down better.
Yeah.
But your tips are good too, Nick. Anyway, we are going to move into Cincinnati. They're taking on the Arizona Cardinals, -7. Joe Burr versus Jacoby Brissett. We're big Jacoby Brissett fans on this show, but,
Not really anymore.
yeah, honestly, not really anymore. We'll let that hype wave die, maybe. Jonathan Gannon, bad coach. Zach Taylor, bad coach. Zach Taylor's probably going to get fired. This is going to probably be another snoozer game. Joe Burrow, though, said he's having fun playing football again. Maybe. Whatever the fuck that means. I'd be having fun if I was getting paid $250 million.
Yeah.
But, the Bengals are better than the Cardinals this year, I would say. The Cardinals are, Jesus, man. They're going to clean house. They're going to get a draft pick, XYZ. Give me the Bengals at home.
Yeah, there should be plenty of scoring between these two teams this week. And, Arizona's defense has been pretty bad this year, and Drew Petson's going to get fired, too, as the OC. So, like Carm said, they're going to clean house for sure. This should be a shootout. I don't really know what else to say about it besides Joe Burrow should be able to win this game for the Bengals. So we'll take Cincinnati this week. That takes us into Giants versus Raiders. The loser of this game grabs the inside track for the #1 overall draft pick, which is the only reason why you would watch this game. And that brings, talks of Bill Belichick returning to the Giants, this time as a head coach for the Giants, right? He was a coordinator there earlier in his days before he went to New England. So that wouldn't be the right move either, but good luck. I mean, the Giants have been in poverty for 11, 12 years now. Las Vegas, meanwhile, comes off playing a good game against Texans, and Ashton Genty had a good game.
Yeah.
Showing his promise. Ashton Genty is not a bust at all. They just have no team around him and no, O-line. Like Carm said, I mean, he gets hit. Carm said the other week, he gets hit behind the O-line every week, and it's a rinse.
Yeah.
So, as long as Jackson Fart is playing quarterback for the New York Giants, I'm going to pick against them. That's been pretty solid for us all year. And we'll take not Gino, but GS. We'll take the Raiders this week on the Sunday Script.
GS. Given GS -1.5 at home favorites, kind of a pick 'em. Both these teams are really bad, and both these teams are. The Giants aren't really poverty because they had Eli and won the Super Bowls, and they're a big market and stuff. But they're on their way there. That's for sure. If they don't change something around. And you guys know at this point, I do not think Jackson Fart is the answer. I think Jackson Fart is a fun guy to watch for a season or two. Kind of bring some life back into the stadium. He can make some plays here and there, buys time with his legs. I don't think he's durable. I don't think he's big enough. And I don't think his arm is going to make up for his lack of durability, as we see with some of these other more slight quarterbacks. I said it last week, his run game is what makes him viable at all. And that's going to be the first thing to go.
Yeah.
Look at what happened to RG3. Give me the Raiders, veteran quarterback versus Jackson Fart. And Jackson Fart, let's see what he does against Max Crosby, right? He hasn't played too many elite pass rushers.
Yeah.
Max Crosby's still very good, guys. Don't be fooled by the nonsense that's going on in Vegas. Max Crosby's very good.
A lot of nonsense going on in Vegas these days.
Yeah. And shout out to Ashton Genty, too, because we've been waiting for that massive game from him, because his team just sells him. So good looks to you, sir. Move us into Buffalo. Philadelphia Eagles are taking on the Buffalo Bills. And the biggest story in this game, I think, is Josh Allen had a hand injury going into that game and came back and really wasn't the same. going to be a big factor in this game. I don't know that I really trust the Bills per se, especially because, as we've talked about on the show before, most of the Bills is just Josh Allen being Superman and making it happen for them, getting them into shootouts, making ridiculous plays, making up for their lack of defense, which has been a weak point all season. And we were talking about, defensive coaches, right? Now, Sean McDermott's on the hot seat because he's a, defensive coach, right? Aaron Glenn, defensive coach. Teams both suck on defense, so that's kind of weird, right? You just hire a coordinator for that. It's gonna be a big game. I think Josh Allen will have a little bit of time to recover. There's still a very good Super Bowl roster on Philadelphia, and it looks like they're clicking a little bit too. They're going a little bit more pass heavy, it seems, trusting Jalen Hurts a little bit more, maybe to shut AJ Frown up, and maybe because they know they can't really lean on Saquon as much. I still like the Bills in this one at home. They got some playoff implications they need to work through. They need to win every game they can, really, for the most part, to guarantee a spot in. So give me the Bills with Josh Allen, even though he's hurt. Keep an eye on that. Yeah,
I'll put it plain and simple. The Eagles already, clinched up their division, right? So they really have there's really no other way for them to move in the seeding either. The Panthers, the NFC South winner is going to catch up to them in wins. That winner will have either 9 or 8 wins, which is, wish the Bears or Packers in the NFC South for us. That'd be great, right? And the Bills actually have playoff implications to play for, right? Bills need to win here. I'm not worried about Josh Allen's injury at all. I don't know if this is the last game at Orchard Park, their stadium, because they have that massive new one built for next year. I don't know if they play at home next week. That's something I should have done research on. But if this is the last game there, or next week will be the last game there, that place will be rocking for the end of their time in that stadium. Eagles don't impress me at all. Saquon had a better week last week, but we see it all. We see it every week against the Commanders. It's just like a get right. It's just a get right game. It's just a guaranteed get right game. And good for the Eagles is they got a Commander sandwich here, so they get the Commanders at the end of the year too to really give them just 11 wins and make it into the playoffs. Right. So we'll take the Buffalo Bills this week.
Is their new stadium covered?
No.
Good. Goddamn right.
But it's like.
It's less windy, right? Because there's some technology in a different direction, wind tunnels or some shit.
But that'll move us into the Sunday night game. The Bears are going into San Francisco to play the 49ers. Coming off that comeback at Soldier Field, right? The Bears now have a chance to clinch the North with a win this week, week 17. I don't think they match up super well against CMC and George Kittle. However, we do have to watch out. George Kittle did have an ankle injury on Monday Night Football, which is, the way to go, the way the Niners go with their injuries and, coming out of the tunnel in crutches and hospital beds. But they've somehow kept the glue together and put enough, they put enough Band-Aids on there to keep it going, and shout out to Shanahan for that, right? The one thing in this game is they are a very turnover-heavy offense, the 49ers. Sock will just give the ball away.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it before, and of course, the topic for the Bears is they lead the league in turnovers, right? So if the Bears get more than 2 turnovers in this game, then that's a win for them, in my opinion. However, I don't really see that happening this week. I think this is a tough game for the Bears to go into Santa Clara and get a win at Levi Stadium. They really need Martin Luther back. Rome won't be back until the playoffs. So they need to get Martin Luther back. DJ stepped up last week, of course, right? And Jade Walker played well, and they still have good running backs and 2 tight ends. So this will be an interesting game for sure. I think this is one of the more low-key, better games on the schedule this week. But we'll take the Niners at home. However, this will be the first time the Bears play in Santa Clara this year. So because we'll see them in Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara as well.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, we'll take the Niners.
Yeah. I don't love the Niners. I think that they have a lot of holes. The main thing, as I was talking about earlier, is their pass rush. Like, they don't have a good pass rush. It's going to be a little bit of an issue dealing with Caleb Williams with a lackluster pass rush. And just holes on their defense injury-wise, as we've been talking about throughout the season. Their offense is still very good. It looks even better with Brock Purdy under center. But as Tim was saying, he's very turnover prone. he threw all those God interceptions. I forgot who they were playing. It was a couple
Panthers.
weeks ago. They were playing the Panthers. Yeah, he threw like 4 interceptions and a half. So he'll do that for you. But the team's really elevated with George Kittle. I think it's going to be tough for the Chicago defense to find a good matchup between him, Brock Purdy, and CMC. But then you do have to factor in the fact, too, that, CMC had 30-something touches.
He had a lot of touches last week. On
a short week, and then that gets kind of dicey, too.
And
but
the Bears
lucky
had a
for
long
them,
week. Yeah.
but lucky for them, they are at home, so maybe that kind of balances it out against each other. Vegas is thinking like me. They're only giving the Niners -3. We're going to take the Niners, but I think it's going to be a close one. Bears get some turnovers. They could definitely put it in their favor. They've been doing. Now we are going to move into ATL, taking on whose house? The Falcons' house, because the Rams are coming into town. Rams are still playing really good football. They got absolutely robbed against the Seahawks. The ref ball is ridiculous. They have very good running backs. Blake Corum's playing an elevated role now. Kyron Williams is still playing very well. Puka, his concussion talk aside, still playing out of his mind, like crazy strong hands. Some of the catches he made. Yeah, like on that hitch route, dude. Just man, nice. Rams are clicking. They're a Super Bowl favorite. I'm not taking Kirk Cousins against them. Give me LA.
Yeah, the Rams enter into Atlanta needing a win to keep up with Seattle in the NFC West. And, the Falcons have rode Kirk Cousins to 2 straight wins, but I don't think they'll be able to maintain, the altitude that they have been against this Rams great offense that the Rams have, defensively for the Falcons. And, Bijan could have a good game, and Kyle Pitts had a fantastic game on the Thursday night rinse a couple weeks ago, right? But the Rams need to recover off a mini bye from that loss they had, and the only thing here that could fuck us over is the Rams went to Baltimore and they did not play well. The Rams went to Carolina and they lost. We saw the Chargers go into New York and lose, and we're predicting Seattle to go into Carolina this week and lose. The out west travel all the way to the East Coast is not fun, but I don't trust the Falcons to get a win. I really don't. I mean, fuck the Falcons, honestly. I mean, every time we pick the Falcons, they screw us over.
Them,
I think we're honestly 1 for 16 with the Falcons this year. So
you might be right. So it's very close.
As this Monday night finisher comes along, this might be a cash out. We'll see. We'll see, because we're going to be 15 for 15 up to this point, and then the Falcons might just fuck us, and then we might cash out. But when we get there, that'll be when we get there, right? But speaking of getting there, we're already in week 17. Merry Scriptmas to everyone. And we'll have, New Year next week. So we'll be recording this script on New Year's Eve, actually, going into 2026. Almost a full successive season for us. So the season finale will be next week. And we thank you all for joining us here as usual. And we thank you all for listening to our takes as well. I know we've had some fantastic takes. And we'll get into those takes right now on the Sunday Script. And my take for week 17 on the Sunday Script is that the New York Giants should just draft the kid from Indiana, Fernando Mendoza. I don't know if his name's Fernando or Carlos, but it's
Fernando.
It's Fernando Mendoza. But they should just draft him, honestly, at this point. I mean, they got Jackson Fart running around and going into the negotiation tent literally every single week. Other than that week 3 game that he put up against Philadelphia, I mean, he has a 67 quarterback rate. I mean, he's been absolutely horrendous. We were saying it all year on the script at the beginning of the year. This Jackson Fart glaze is not warranted, and it makes absolutely zero sense to us. He is very one-dimensional. He can't stay on the field. Now, it doesn't help that Malik Neighbors got his ACL rinsed at Met Death, right? That doesn't help That doesn't help at all. And, of course, Scadaboo gets hurt, but they're also glazing the, crap out of Scadaboo, too. Right? So everyone was talking, the Giants are going to be great this year. Watch out for Little Fart. What do you mean, little fart? Like Carm said, he's just Justin Fields in disguise. So I think the Giants would be better off drafting a quarterback this year. What they'll do is they'll trade the picks and they'll get a haul, but they'll screw that up too. At least Fernando Mendoza has won the Heisman and is on a number one team, right? Fart was running around with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss doing absolutely nothing. So I don't even think he was a first round talent. So that's my take this week on the Sunday Script.
All right, everyone. Merry Christmas. We touched about it a little bit earlier in this show with our good old buddy DeKalen Metcalf. And I kind of want to talk about his situation a little bit more in depth and really just tell him to grow up, because now you are going to deal with some very big boy consequences. He has a $45 million guaranteed contract that is now potentially in jeopardy because he was doing conduct detrimental to the team. So that can possibly void his $45 million on top of a potential lawsuit that he's going to be facing, as well as his investigation from the NFL. He has gotten himself into a very, very big predicament, possibly an 8-figure predicament, on top of, the civil lawsuit that's inevitably coming his way. Grow up is what I say, DK Metcalf. You are 6'4". You have the body of a Greek god. You play professional football. You have thousands of fans. You have people that will work all week, make $200 and give it away for a shirt with your name on it. And you care about what some punk in a blue wig in Detroit, Michigan has to say. Whether he called you DeKalen or something worse, you're not some, 20-year-old first-round draft pick. You're a grown man. You're in your late 20s. So I personally hope you get everything that's coming for you, man, because you need to learn to act like an adult. I always say be professional. DK wasn't, and now he's going to have the consequences. So enjoy that one, Mr. Metcalf.
And my take this week is kind of more focused towards the teams and the organization as a whole. I think we have a major problem that's not being addressed because no one wants to talk about it. But these kids are getting paid ridiculous sums of money just to cry, whine, and not play the game. I mean, we see it all the way around the NFL. I know Carm touched on it in his take with DK Metcalf. Getting all angry and getting this big check. We see it from Joe Burr, big money, big tears. So my biggest problem is, things need to be written into these contracts that takes money back to the team from these stupid players. I think that's the best way to do it, because obviously they're not smart enough to think about their next action, but they'll be smart enough to think about where their money's going. So fine them, take the money back, do something, and stop giving them so goddamn much. They don't deserve half this money because they're not showing any results. They're paid for potential. Now I want to see results. So my take this week, they need to fix this money problem in the NFL, give people what they produce and not what they think they can get.
All right, and that'll take us into the Week 17 rundown here on the Sunday Script. Merry Scriptmas to everyone, and hopefully when you wake up on Christmas morning, under the tree will be a nice, shiny lock from Santa Claus. Christmas Day rinse. We're going to take the Cowboys to beat the Commanders in an NFC East matchup. Lions, Vikings. Give us the Lions this week. Broncos, Chiefs. We're going to take the Broncos to beat Chris Oladuncan this week. Texans, Chargers. We'll take Houston on the road as the Dogs this week. Ravens, Packers. We'll do the same here. We'll take the Ravens as the Dogs to go into Lambeau. Bucks, Dolphins. We'll take the Buccaneers to murder the Dolphins on the Bay in Miami. Patriots, Jets. Take the Patriots. The Jets are tanking for Mendoza. Steelers, Browns. We'll take Aaron and the Steelers to beat up on the shit stain. Jags, Colts. Give us the Jags. We'll take Duval this week on the Sunday Script. Saints, Titans. Oh, shucks. Here comes the baby food eater. We'll take the Saints this week. Seahawks, Panthers. Panthers could clinch this week, the NFC South. We'll take the Panthers this week. Cardinals, Bengals. We'll take Joe Burrow over Jacoby Brissett this week. Giants, Raiders, the race for the number 1 overall pick. We will take GS and Ashton Genty to get a win. Eagles, Bills. We'll take Josh Allen to fight through the injury this week. Bears, Niners on Sunday night. We will take the San Francisco 49ers this week. And for the Monday night finisher, we'll take whose house? Rams house. We'll take the Rams this week on the Sunday scripts. And that is your Week 17 rundown here. We hope to see you next week for our season finale where you will be significantly richer. And so will we. We'll see you next week on the Sunday script.